Hello everyone and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today I believe is August the 13th, 2025. And as you can see, I have my furry co-host here with me to say hello. Can you say hello to the people? The people are up here. Say hello. Hello. Yeah, that's all he wants is chin rubbies. Well, welcome to another episode. And for those of you that are new, I'm, of course, all about crochet. I like to talk about items that I've made or items that I am in the process of making. But I also like to talk about yarn a fair bit and anything associated with yarn and crochet. And particularly the yarn I talk about is hand-dyed yarn. Got cat hair. Thank you very much. I like to talk and focus on hand-dyed yarn, and particularly at this point in time, I have been focusing on Canadian indie dyers just because of the exchange rates. So that's where we've been focusing. And I hope you enjoy what you see. If this is what you like, then I hope you will stay with us and come back again. For all of you out there, very warm welcome, and please make a comment. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It tells me that about 15% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So I would love it so much if you would subscribe. I know it's kind of short notice, but I had a goal to kind of make 2,000 by September. September is my birthday and my podiversary month. And that always seems to be a milestone. And every year I've been able to celebrate the next level of subscribers. So it would be really nice if I could make 2,000 before the end of September, but that would be quite a few new subscribers, and likely I won't make it. But you know what? If you put the word out there and refer people to my channel, maybe we will make it. You just never know. We like to think positive here, don't we? Yes. He isn't going to stay much longer. I can see he's already getting ready to go. So I think it'll be a little different week this week. I do have a couple of items to show you. I definitely have a fair bit of yarn to show you. And then when I am done, and I actually am going to talk about one type of yarn. That's something I like to do every so often, is give the properties of various types of yarn. Bye-bye. And then we'll do some chit chat and answer questions, and I might even try to crochet while I do that. So what are we going to start with? We're going to start with what have I been working on? What have I finished? I did finish some things recently. I finished I finished my item for the August butterfly, but I think I'm going to hold on to that for another week or two. Maybe at the time of the slideshow, I'll show that. And I have been working on two items for our, Cathy and I are doing a summer cow. Cathy is from Yarn with Heart, and she and I decided to work together on this summer cow, and I decided to do two items. The one I finished, and I'm going to wait to show it when we do our final video. And while I mention that, I don't want to forget, we said we were just going to do it on one of our videos in the middle of September, but we have decided that we are going to do another live video. The live will be on my channel, and it will be that weekend. So we said it was going to be September the 12th, but it will be on Sunday, September the 14th. We found that worked out to be a fairly good day for people to join a live. So on Sunday, September the 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because that's where Cathy and I are, we're going to do a live, and we will show what we have made, and we will have a slideshow for you. We have figured out how we can get that slideshow to work. At least we are pretty sure we can get it to work. If not, you'll find out from us that week. I'm on the 11th and Cathy would be on the 12th. That's the days we normally do a video. And if we don't think it'll work on the Sunday, we will tell you ahead. But in the meantime, next week, I'm going to go and post the live so that you can go and click on to be notified. So we hope you will join us there. Sounds like quite a few people are joining us in this crochet along. I've had a few questions, but I think I've sorted everybody out. And I finished one, and I'm going to save it for our live. But I am working on a second one that is to be a blanket. And I just thought I would show you my progress so far. I did some more work on it this week. I am using this yarn, Mandala Ombre, which is a number 4, and this is in the color Chai, and that's what it looks like. Each cake looks a little bit different. And here's how far I am so far. I haven't had any questions recently, but if you do have a question, maybe you just are getting started now. Here's how it looks. I have more than one ball done. I finished one ball right up here at the top row of the purple. So here's what I got done this week on a second ball. It's going to take, probably 2.5 or even a little more than 2.5 cakes. But that's how far I am on our summer cowl. And this is feeling very nice. I suspect it isn't quite as wide as I thought it would be. I'll have to stretch it a bit. But I will keep going until it's 40 inches in length. And I am using a 4mm hook to work on this. So that's what I am working on, as I said, when I am at therapist appointments at the hospital with Rose. So I'll just put that in there. So I work on it once or twice a week for a little bit. And that's our summer cowl. Now I have 2 other projects on the go that I'll be working back and forth between. Yeah, I know that's not like me, but that's what I'm going to be doing for the next little while. I showed you this not too long ago. I started a wrap for Rose using this cake, and then I put it aside for a bit. And this is the wrap. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name, but I will look it up because I have the name in my record book. So that's how wide the wrap is. And I've worked out of the real black, and now I'm into, you can see it's changed to blue. And it will keep getting lighter and lighter till the end. The problem with this is it's kind of boring. It's, just chain and then this stitch, chain and the stitch back and forth all the time. It is kind of a boring pattern, but I wanted something simple and easy because there will be times I might take this when we go to the hospital, and I needed something simple to do that I didn't have to carry a pattern with me. So I am going to put some real effort into this in this coming week. I really do want to finish this before the end of August. And we're already halfway through, so we'll see how that goes. But I am really going to work on it this week. The other thing I'm going back to work on, I started it in July sometime. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Excuse me. I started this because this was originally the summer cowl that Cathy and I were going to do, but then ran into a problem and decided to change our mind, and we switched to the one we've been showing you. But this is how far I got. This is called the bouquet scarf, and this is another ripple. It is a different ripple than the one in our summer cowl, and it goes up several colors. I believe there are 6 different colors in it. The next 2 colors are these, and I will also be using these colors along with this. I'll bring it up closely. This is another cosmic, confetti cosmic, something like that, but this one is more purples. The one I did our cowl in is navy. This one is sort of purpley. And again, it has the tweeds and it has the 3 colored stellina in it. So I'm going to work on this as well, back and forth. When I get really bored with that one or tired of it, then I'll work on this one a little bit for a bit of a change. If I were to focus on this, I would definitely have it done probably in the next week. But I'm not going to focus on this. This is going to be secondary because I really want to complete that wrap for Rose. Then she will have it to use. This isn't as important that I get it done. So that's the things I'm working on at the moment, back and forth, and maybe if I'm lucky by the end of the month I'll get both of these items done, because I have my butterfly item done. I don't have to worry about that, so I can work back and forth on these as much as I want. And I still have, what is today, 13th, so I still have 18 days left in the month. Maybe I could get them both done, and that would be really nice if I could do that. So that's what I've been working on. No real finished objects to show you this week, but there will be in the coming weeks because I have finished some things. So what is the next thing I want to do? I think next I want to talk to you about some yarn. I have some yarn acquisitions here, and I have a lot of EFA yarn, and a lot of it is yarn that I've purchased before. This is just different colors. But before I start there, I think I'm going to show you this yarn. I have had this easily for 6 months. And it was a yarn that I held off showing you because I wanted to talk. It's a very different base, and I wanted to talk about the properties of this yarn. These are both the same. They are from a company called Beehive Yarns. I'm almost positive that I bought this from Les Garçons, because Beehive Yarns doesn't ring a bell with me. They probably are Canadian. I didn't take the time before today's taping to actually look them up. I should have done that. But anyway, I wanted to talk about these because they are very different. They are 75% BFL, that's blue face likes Leicester. Leicester, I think is how they say it. Blue face Leicester. BFL is what I call it. And 25% Masham. And I had never heard of Masham before. Now, these are fingering weights. 400 meters, 437 yards in the 100 grams. Non-superwash, hand wash only. BeehiveYarns.com. I will definitely link the company Beehive Yarns in the description box. I wish I had looked them up and could tell you about them. Sorry about that. But I do want to tell you the properties of the yarn. So we'll start with BFL because I'm sure many of you have heard of BFL yarn in the past. It's not an uncommon kind of yarn. It's just not a yarn I'm drawn to. Some people say it's really, really the softest ever. And I have found it isn't as soft as other yarns. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. So BFL yarn is known, here it says, it's known for its softness, strength, and beautiful drape, making it a popular choice for various knitting and crochet projects. It's prized for its lustrous sheen and ability to hold its shape well, resulting in garments that are both comfortable and durable. More information on the properties. Apparently, BFL has a long staple length, and that contributes to its strength and makes it less prone to pilling. So that's a good thing compared to yarns with shorter fibers. So it makes it a good option for things that are going to be worn and washed frequently. Things like socks, sweaters maybe, and accessories. While not as incredibly soft as some merino, and definitely I don't find it as soft, it is still considered soft and comfortable against the skin. Okay, yes, it feels fine. Luster and drape creates a beautiful luster and drape, giving items a luxurious look and feel. The crimp, can you see that there is the texture there? The crimp in BFL wool is the natural wave in the fiber, and it contributes to its elasticity and allows it to hold its shape well. It takes the dye beautifully. It is a natural brown color, and that adds depth to the dyes. It's very versatile and can be used for a wide range of projects: socks, sweaters, shawls, hats, and other accessories. It can be blended with other fibers like silk to enhance its properties, and you'll find it in various weights for sure. And I mean, it feels okay, but I wouldn't call this soft. Now, the other yarn that is in it is Masham, and I had never heard of Masham before, and I just have a small amount of information about the Masham. Masham sheep produce wool known for its long staple length, typically ranging from 18 to 15 centimeters. And the wool is renowned for its resilience, luster, and durability, which makes it suitable for robust outerwear. And it has good insulating properties, providing warmth without excessive weight. Masham wool is a beautiful white color. It's considered a long wool because of its micron count. Its micron count is very high. And it's a mix of other types. It does over-dye beautifully. And it says here it's a great choice for rugs or projects that need a more robust wool. And it talks about, is it itchy? The yarn isn't exactly soft, but it has a sleek quality, not particularly fuzzy, that stops it from being scratchy. So this doesn't feel scratchy, but it is not known for its softness. And you put these two together and you get an okay feel. It's not scratchy at all. But there are so many much softer yarns out there. So this would not be something I would reach for in a hurry. Now, I didn't know when I ordered it how it would feel, so I just ordered two, thinking that I might be able to put them together in a shawl or maybe a scarf. Yes, like I said, I have so many yarns that are so much softer that this wouldn't be the first thing I would pick, although there's nothing wrong with them. It's just not my first choice. I like this navy though, and I really want to find a couple of yarns with navy, this color of navy, to use with my Polka Dot Creek advent calendar there when I start to work with them, but we'll get back to that another time. So that is some information on two kinds of yarn that, well, Masham I never heard of, and BFL I rarely buy. I've had it once or twice before. So that's our latest update on different kinds of yarns. Next, I'm going to show you some yarn I have purchased from EFA. Get a spot to set it here. First of all, you won't see this very often at EFA. It's something called their signature fingering. And what they have done is they've taken another one of their fingerings that was called amal. They had an amal fingering, and then they mixed amal. I forget what exactly was in amal. I'll probably know in a minute. Mulberry silk and baby alpaca, I'm thinking. They mix linen in with it. Linen takes the dye differently than other yarns. And what they did was they dyed the linen, I guess separately before they plied them together, in their signature color. And I'm sure you've been watching me show EFA yarn long enough to understand this is their signature color. This is the color, Shandy's favorite color. If you ever watch her weekly podcasts or videos, you'll see that her walls are painted this color. So they dyed the linen this color, and then they mixed it with the other. So this signature fingering is 30% linen, 30% mulberry silk, and 40% baby alpaca. And when they mixed it, you'll see their linen being a different color running through this. And they used this color that the linen is in every one of their colors. So first they have this one. This is called Dream Chaser. To me, that's kind of a fuchsia color. And I also got this one, and they call it Radiant Hope, and it's purple. Now, I don't think you're going to find it on the site anymore. Maybe there is still some left. I only ordered these two colors, a couple of each, and the reason was I had ordered this before. Oh, probably more than a year ago when they first brought it out. And I ordered other colors. I wish I knew where it was. It's in one of these containers back here, but I'm not going to worry about finding it. But these two colors, I had some, and I thought I wouldn't mind trying to make a sweater at least in one of these colors, maybe in both, I'm not sure. But it is very soft feeling. Well, it's got alpaca and it's got silk. You don't feel the stiffness of the linen. And I ordered a few more of each just because I wanted a sweater's quantity to try to make something with them. So that's one yarn I bought from EFA over the summer, and even some of this is from back in the spring. Also, I ordered this, which is Oasis. I have quite a bit of Oasis fingering. I'm not probably going to show it all, but I ordered this, and it's called Magnolia Muse, and it's gray with some other colors in it. Mostly teal, I would say, but there are flecks of red in there, different shades of green, and I got two because I would be sure to have enough to make a shawl. I have some other Oasis fingering. I really, really like their Oasis fingering. And this one, oh, this is an Oasis. What's this? Oh, here's Oasis that was an oopsie, and it's called Mercurial. Again, a pretty color. And I think I have a project in mind for that. I'm only going to show you some of what I have down here because I don't want to be all day. Here's another Oasis fingering called Healing Hydrangea. Isn't that pretty? And I have some yak, so I'm going to show you the yak that I got, and then I'll save the others because some of them are new bases, and I don't think I've given you a description of camel or yak. Did we do yak just recently? I don't know, but I know we haven't done camel. So I am going to be giving you the properties of that very soon. So here's some Harmony yak fingering. I really like the color of that. You know, I would. A very pretty purple. I'm hoping, though, to get another yak and do a two-colored thing. You know, get something that's variegated to go with that. And finally, here's a yak silk fingering. I don't know what the difference is between Harmony yak. Oh, it's okay. Here's the difference. Harmony yak is 65% merino, 20% mulberry silk, and 15% yak. And then yak silk fingering is 50 yak and 50 silk. So I guess it feels a little bit softer, a little more like Oasis, but yeah, because there is merino in this. So this is, it's called Cafe au Lait Dahlia. So it's maybe a type of dahlia flower. 50% yak and 50% silk. So I'll look up to see if we've talked about yak. I definitely want to talk about camel, and we'll do the two of those in a week or two. There we go. I think this would make a lovely shawl as well. Very pretty. Okay, that's all of the acquisitions I really want to show you at the moment. I'm going to break here for a minute and interject another little video that I did just before I sat down. I told you last week that I got out all of the things that I've made and I hung them up on racks, and I just don't think you can appreciate how much I have made and still have. I don't have a lot of people in my life to give away things, especially not fine yarn items. As I said, I donate a fair bit, and you need acrylic yarns for that. But what I'm going to show you is 95% hand-dyed yarn. I'm going to show you the racks of everything I've done. So I'm interjecting here the video of what I have got completed here at my house. And this gives you an idea of how much I've made. This rack right down here, the front one, those are all my one skein, what I call fashion scarves. Back here behind them are all, those are all shawls. Some of them are the very lightweight cotton shawls, and others are made with the hand-dyed 2 and 3 different yarns. And then I have another rack over here. And down here, this rack is just plumb full. Those are all asymmetrical triangles that I've made, a lot of them in the last year or two. And then in the back, not so much. I have a couple of cocoon cardigans and a few ponchos. And this style of poncho, I've been asked about a few times, the type that is not made going around in a continuous, just going around and around with the point. I make it with 2 rectangles, and I've been asked about it. So I'll talk about that a little bit more in today's video. I'm going to do something about that. And then finally, one last rack, and that's this rack. And this rack has pretty much all wraps. Some of them are good width, and others a little narrower, more like a scarf. They're wide for a scarf, but not maybe quite as wide as you'd want a wrap to be. And what really surprised me, here's one example, was how many of them I have made with minis. Here's another one right beside it with a lot of minis, fall colors. So that rack is pretty full. There's some on the back side as well. You don't need to see my hoops, but yeah. So that is all of the items I have made. Now this is actually a cowl, and here is a scarf, again, made with minis, and at the other end is another scarf. That's made with pearlescent worsted. But that just gives you kind of an overview of how much I have made and I have here in my home. That's a lot of things, isn't it? Well, you're going to be seeing some in the fall, because I want to talk a little bit about what to expect next month. I usually do a lot of celebrating in September. I don't think I'll quite do the amount of celebrating I usually do, but I like to do a few different things. And one of the things I'm going to do in September is pick one of the items on that rack. Like maybe I'll start with the fashion scarves, the single skeined items, and I'll have several of them to show you to see if you're interested in purchasing any of them. Then in October, I think what I'm going to do in October is some shawls and ponchos. And then the next month, something else. That's one thing I'm going to do in September. The other thing is, I was showing you in that little video the style of poncho that I quite often make. And it's not the same as the ponchos where you go around in a circle and then you make a point at the front and a point at the back. So you keep going and you have a point front and back. All ponchos pretty much have a point front and back, but I don't do it in a continuous stream. I do it in 2 rectangles, and I once took the time to show you with the 2 pieces of paper how I do it. And somebody suggested that maybe I could do a tutorial. Well, I'm going to do something. It's not exactly a tutorial. I think what I'm going to do is explain by making one and giving you kind of a recipe of how to make that kind of poncho. In my book, it's much, much easier than this thing going around and around and around. And it gives you some leeway, I guess, to experiment with stitches, to try out different things. And you can pick whatever stitch you want. So I am going to do that. Call it a mini tutorial, show you the recipe. I'm going to do that in September. Another thing I want to do in September is I've been wanting to do a designer focus for some little while. But I've run into problems in that when I contact them, I don't get an answer. And I'm just not randomly picking designers. I pick a designer based on having done some of their patterns. I want to have tried them out to see what I think about their patterns before I start recommending them to you. And I did run into that problem again. In fact, Cathy and I ran into that problem with people not responding when we did our summer cowl. We really like to let the people know we're using their pattern for a cowl. So I didn't have enough time to try out another designer. So I'm going to do something a wee bit different. It's still going to be a designer focus, but you'll have to tune in September to see what I'm doing that's just a wee bit different. And then another thing I want to do in September is, you remember I made a pact with myself that for every skein of yarn that I purchased in the summer, every skein that came into the house, another skein was going to go out. So I have here, and I'm going to just quickly flash some of the skeins. I don't think I'll get them all out because I don't have a, maybe I could put them up there. I have two that match. There, I'm going to go very quick moving. And I do have a few that are, I think those orange ones were worsted weight. But I'm just going to quickly flash by some of the colors I have. It's mostly all fingering weight. And it's a lot of it is EFA yarn because I went through these shelves back here. I had to put them back together again. That feels heavier, but it isn't. So you can see there's a variety of colors here. And these are the things that I am going to show you in early September, maybe the first week of September, that I'm going to be selling. Here's a sparkle. It's a wonder I'm giving that up. And so there's some yarn that I'm going to be selling at pretty much half price. So if you are interested, you'll want to come back at the beginning of September and see what there is. I will show them slowly, and I will tell you what's in them and what the weight is so that you can decide if you want something or not. But so far I have one skein for every skein that has come in. I'll double count, check the count again, probably at the end of the summer, to make sure that the numbers agree. So that's pretty much all of the things that I wanted to cover today. So we're going to now switch gears a bit, and I'm going to bring out my crochet, and I'm going to do some crocheting while I chat a bit. I actually, before I get started crocheting, I actually did take the first two. Every other row is going to be plain gray, and every other row is going to alternate gray and a color. And I have this is all sparkle. This isn't. This is Moon Gleam Fingering from EFA, but these are all, so is the gray here, but the other colors are all from Borealis, Christmas of 23, my Advent calendar. So every row will have those colors in it in random order. I'm not planning anything. So that's been put together. It's a bit crooked on the edge. I don't know why. It just is. But I'm not going to worry about it. So now I'm ready to I have a green here, and I'm going to switch over to the gray. And once I get it switched over, I'm going to get out these questions that you seem to be enjoying hearing my answers. I'm not too sure why they're so interesting, but these are some questions that you asked, and some of them are questions from the tag that was going around. I just lost my hook. I don't know if this is wise to be crocheting while I talk. I'm not sure I'll keep a good focus on it. I may have to redo it all. That would be kind of a waste, wouldn't it? But anyway. Alrighty, so questions. And by the way, if there are more questions you want to ask that maybe you forgot at the time or didn't something you thought about since then, something that I'm answering that made you think of another question, feel free to drop the question in the comments below this video today. So let's look at what's on this list. Where do you get your inspiration? Where do I get my inspiration? Well, I don't design, so I'm not sure what kind of inspiration. How do I decide what I'm going to make next? Is that maybe what you would like to know? Because I don't know that I'm actually inspired. How do I know, or what makes me decide what's next? I'm not sure I get inspiration from anywhere. I sometimes certain colors would determine what I'm going to make. Sometimes I have a pattern I really want to make, and that determines the colors I'm going to make it in. There isn't anything that really inspires me other than maybe the yarn. The yarn inspires me to do certain things. No, I don't. I really can't say I'm inspired by any one particular thing. Sorry, not a good answer, is it? Does something inspire you? Now, I know once a month, I have a certain color because of the butterfly mal. I have a certain color that I want to use. And then I just go hunting through patterns to see something that catches my attention. I have a long queue in Ravelry of things that I really want to do. No, I'm sorry, I don't have an answer to that. What is the favorite thing you've made so far this year? Favorite thing you've made so far this year? Well, I'm afraid I don't have much to say about that either. I have been asked do I have something, a favorite thing I would like to show, when I do the video of items that you like to show? And I have never had what I would consider to be one special item to show. So I don't show anything on that video. And I make a lot of things that I like, and I could go out there to those racks that I just showed you a couple of minutes ago, and I could pick things from those racks that I like better than other things. I can't say I've made anything that stands out this year that is my favorite thing. I'm looking forward, though, to next year being a year of special items. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to take all of the restrictions off myself, and I'm going to be more low-key. I'm not going to be doing lots of cals, and I'm not going to be doing any testing. I didn't do any this year either. But I'm just going to relax and not set all these goals to have this and the other thing done. And I'm going to relax into my crocheting. I'm going to look at the patterns I have in my queue and that I really want to do. Some of them are here on the floor. I have patterns set aside and I have yarn set aside that I really want to do something with. And I'm thinking I might relax a little bit more about it and do things that really excite me. Not that I haven't done some things I really like this year. I have done a number of things I really like this year. Was it this year or was it last fall? I made a very, very long purple, very open weave. Oh, it was the corner to corner. When I was trying to corner to corner and I decided partway through I wasn't going to finish it, and I turned it into a cowl, like a long infinity scarf, joined it, made a cowl. I really, really like that item. Maybe I'll bring it down and show you one time if I remember. That is an item that was one of my favorite things, but I'm pretty sure I made that last fall. So let's get on to another question. Crochet plans you're excited about for the future. Well, that's the first thing, what I just mentioned. Taking the pressure off myself and just picking up some of these things that I've wanted to do for quite a while and spending time making some things that I'm excited about. That's one thing. I also have a plan for October, November to do with you. I'm pretty excited about that plan. I don't want to say anything more about it, but something we're going to do together, like a game I did a couple of years ago. I'm kind of excited for that. And I think I mentioned that at Christmas this year, when I'm opening the Advent calendars I have for Christmas, I'm going to work on making an item with the Advent calendar I got this summer. And I'm kind of excited for that item too. And you'll hear more about that when Christmas rolls along. Let's see. I'm going to answer one more question. How many hours a week or day do you invest in crochet? Well, first of all, that varies day to day. If it's a day when I take Rose to therapy, I certainly don't get as much done that day. On Tuesdays, I teach my class, and almost always I videotape on Tuesday for Thursday. So I definitely get less crocheting done on those 2 days. The other days of the week, you know, we have some normal household duties to do each day, and I spend time reading on my iPad and so on. But the rest of the time, I crochet every day. I crochet every day. Some days more than others, because some days I'm a little more in the mood than others. I mean, I sit down to crochet, but I might get, you know, a half an hour into my crochet and I'm bored of it, or I just not in the mood. So I switch over and play some kind of game on my iPad. Sometimes I have errands to do, or I have to water the garden. Watering the garden takes me almost an hour. Sometimes I get sidetracked into looking at patterns. I can spend hours looking at patterns, trying to decide what I want to do next. Or if it's time to pick a new pattern because I've just finished something like I did last night, I can go down a rabbit hole and be forever looking at patterns. But I generally crochet every day quite a few hours. And quite a few hours can be anything from 2 or 3 hours to 5 or 6. And if it's a good day, even more. If it's a day when there was nothing else to be done and I'm in a good mood to sit and get listening to a good book, that settles me more than anything. That if I'm listening to a good book, the hours can go by and I don't notice it. So then I might end up crocheting 7 or 8 hours a day. Now that doesn't happen too often, but it can happen. But I do crochet a little every day. And I think that's where I want to leave it for today. I was hoping to shorten things a little bit during this month. And so I'm going to stop at that point. And next week, I'll maybe, if I'm lucky, have something finished to show you. And I will have more yarn acquisitions to show you. And I think possibly I'll have another yarn to give you the properties of, but I'm trying to do things a little more low key this month and maybe shorter videos. So I think we will call it a day at this point. And I hope I haven't forgotten anything, because, you know, that's typical of me to forget something. But I'm looking around at everything I have here, and I think I've shown you all that I had to show you. So we'll leave it at that for now, and I hope to see you back here next week. And until then, happy hooking.